Hey folks, Sylvius here. I'm doing some Minecraft. I'm gonna go on my playground world. I think start working my way on the right, right. So yeah, gonna start working on the maze. Now, if I remember correctly, this is the respawn spot, but it doesn't really matter. Let's get rid of this stuff because I don't need it. Do. Do I have anything in here? Yeah, I don't want any of this either. Get this crap out of my inventory! So yeah, today I am going to build a maze. Alright? Alright. So first things first is I want to make a clearly identifiable spot to get into the maze. So that there's no problems on that end. Is it a decoration block? I'm looking for the beacon. I must have gone right past it. Although I'm pretty sure I need blocks of diamonds, so let me grab that while I'm here. Alright. Am I blind? Am I blind? I think I might be blind. Maybe it's not a regular block? I thought it was a regular block. What is it? Decoration? It's not a decoration block. Redstone? Oh, come on. Miscellaneous? There it is. It's miscellaneous. Great. Alright. I guess I will start the maze up here. Now you might be wondering why I'm doing this. This actually has nothing to do with the maze. It's just a way to get to where the maze starts so that people don't interfere. Flower. I hate that I can't. I have to like manually destroy those flowers. Alright. Do 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 do. That should beam up into the sky. All right. Cool. Cool. Alright, so I don't need the beacons anymore. Actually, no, I'm gonna keep the beacons. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make each individual part of the maze visible via beacon. And since I already have this quartz out, and also since this quartz kind of looks cool, I'm going to start the maze here. Although, actually, I'm going to go... Jeez. There we go. Alright, so like, theoretically, if you really wanted to, you could cheat, I suppose, and walk along the edge here. But once you're in the maze, you're in the maze. Now then. Now, usually, when I do mazes, I do them in a slightly different manner than I'm going to do on this one. But I'm going to start this one because I think this cobblestone block is actually... Or quartz? Yeah, this quartz is kind of neat. So I'm going to utilize this quartz a little bit more than I would under normal circumstances. Alright. Not gonna do that. Shit. Do 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 do. the fun thing about this is that I have a really good memory, okay? And I'm pretty good at, like, making and finding my way through mazes. It's a, like, weird skill I have, I know. And from my experience of making mazes, I can tell you that being privileged and able to watch the process of me making it will not help you get through it, really, at all. Except for any kind of gimmicks. Gimmicks, it'll help you get through. But for, like, the actual just base figuring out how to get through the maze, nah. At least the ones I make. I don't know about other people's mazes. In fact, you know, I haven't really looked it up before, but I'd be interested to see if there's, like... Anybody else make Minecraft mazes? I feel like nobody really does mazes anymore in the first place. They're a, like, thing of a bygone age, I believe. Which is a shame. You know what got me into mazes? This is like a sad story in its own special way. But what actually got me into making mazes in the first place, right, was church. Right? I know, you wouldn't think that. But yeah, so here's how it worked, right? When I was a kid, my mom was in this like super Christian church kick, right? We used to go to like a normal church that was actually like, I don't know, half a block away from our house. Like, I could probably, like, I could go out onto my porch and like throw a rock and hit the church. Like, that's how close the church was. This is like another one of those stories that I don't want to waste right now, but I'll waste it. So yeah, we were like, you know, it was a nice church. The pastor, I guess his last, we referred to him as Pastor Daryl. So I don't know if Daryl was his last or his first name. As far as I know, I've never met another person with that particular name either. So I'm really not sure. But anyway, Pastor Daryl was like a really, really good guy. He lived on like the church grounds. He was a really nice guy. He lived on the church grounds, so like his house was right there. So the kids like around the neighborhood would like, you know, kind of whenever they were bored would just like stop in and be like, hey, let's go talk to Pastor Daryl. So, you know, you'd like just ring his doorbell and he'd show up and you'd talk to Pastor Daryl about whatever you were feeling like talking about. Video games and things like that. I remember, I don't know if anybody remembers the old Turok Dinosaur Hunter games. I had one of them, and, you know, of course I cheated. I used, I think a Game Shark actually. But, yeah, so I get, like, Turok Dinosaur Hunter, and there was a weapon in the game called the Chrono Scepter. And, okay, now keep in mind, I'm like, I don't know, like, 9, right? So I said something now, like, that's the strongest weapon in the game, and Pastor Daryl was like, oh, so it's like some kind of weapon that has to do with, like, time. I was like, what? He's like, well, you know, chrono means, like, having to do with time. So I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So it's like a time scepter. Again, keep in mind, I was, you know, really young. Really young. Alright. So, like, yeah, all the kids would always, like, hang out and talk to Pastor Daryl. He was a really good guy. And he did, like, I guess that's like marriage counseling for people that had problems and stuff like that. So he was doing counseling for my stepdad's like best friend, whose name was, you know, honestly I don't remember. And probably just as well, I probably shouldn't be talking about it in this particular situation. Anyway, so turns out, now Pastor Daryl was like, I don't know, I would say he's like in his 50s. He kind of looked like Santa Claus without the long beard. Like, he had the really white-tinted beard that kind of like, you know, went from his, like, his ears down. Anyway, he was having an affair with my stepdad's friend's wife. So when my stepdad's friend found out about it and was displeased, he like went to the church and was like, yo, like, you gotta fire this guy. So the church was like, yeah, we're firing this guy. It's cool. So they like kicked him out, and they were like, we're going through the house that he was using because it's church property. And they found like a whole bunch of child pornography and stuff. Like, it was just like, yeah, things went downhill. So anyway, what does this have to do with mazes? Alright, well, after that particular blow to my mom's view of the church, she decided she needed to, like, I don't know, one-up it. So then she found this other church called Saint Something's Church. And it was like a Christian rock church. Now, I should mention that, like, I'm not super religious at all, under any sense of the words religious, okay? And there are, like, reasons for this, but as a general rule of thumb, like, I don't have a lot of, like, faith or anything, blah, 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 blah. Part of it is because I think my mom, like, drugged me kicking and screaming to church all the time, and I hated going to church, and I hated waking up early. You'll notice that I put like, if you're in Eastern Standard Time, and if you watch some of my videos, you'll notice that I'm constantly like, oh, it's 6 a.m. I gotta go to bed. I have always been a night owl. Even when I was, like, a super young child, I was always... I mean, I was up for my first sunrise when I was, like, 6. Probably not actually 6, but probably, like, around 8. I know I was caught for curfew for being out at, like, 4 in the morning at a playground, when I was in, like, 5th grade, I think? Maybe 4th? Anyway, so yeah. So yeah, being woken up for Sunday church was never something I enjoyed, in other words. Well, how many paths? 2 paths that need to be worked on. What do we got over here? This one is good. Alright. So yeah. Yeah, it was just like, that sucked, and I wasn't happy about that at all. And then, like, my mom apparently maybe was always religious. I kind of don't think she was. I think my mom has always been into, like, stupid crap. Like, there was a period in time where she was in, like, homeopathic medicine. And there was a period in time where she was into, like, tarot cards and, like, kind of, like, Buddhist, Hindu spiritualism and things like that. Not that I'm saying those things are stupid, just for the record, but, like, she's always been, like, easily taken by things, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I mean that in the most, like, insulting way possible towards her, by the way. Like, she's always been like, ooh, a shiny whistle! Yay! And then, like, runs off with it. But anyway, so, like, when I was young, we never went to church. And then, all of a sudden, like, she marries this dude, and she becomes, like, super religious, and she needs me to be super religious so that we can all be super religious together, I guess. I don't know. So it's like, all of a sudden, we gotta go to, like, prayer study and Bible school, and I'm like, yeah, look, I just, like, want to go to sleep. I don't want to do any of this. So anyway, after her first foray into church-going ended in the pastor being a pedophile. You know, it's like, it's whatever. But anyway, so after that happened, she found this other church. Now, like, oh, sorry, so I already didn't like church. And my mom's, like, an idiot. So when I was like, Mom, I don't understand, like, why does the Bible... By the way, she made me read the Bible, so, like, you know, I read, like... I don't know. I read past Noah, and I read past Moses. So, I don't know. I think I read the entire Old Testament before she stopped forcing me. And I don't really remember most of it, but I remember a lot of it. So I was like, Mom, where were the dinosaurs? Were they not on Noah's Ark? Now, to me, this is a legitimate question to ask. And it needs a legitimate answer. Because, like, I'm a, like, rational, logical person, okay? So if you're going to just be like, stop thinking rationally and you'll be fine, I'm just not going to be able to function. That is not an acceptable answer for me. You cannot just tell me to be like, well, just don't think of it. So, when I was like, where are the dinosaurs? My mom was like, don't ask dumb questions. So I was like, okay, well, this doesn't make sense then. And then she just yelled at me and told me not to overthink it. So, I was like, you know what? Screw religion. This is stupid. Very, very stupid. So, yeah, from that point on, I was like, I think my mom kind of killed it for me. And then the fact that she was, like, super excited about it, but couldn't logically explain anything to me about it, made me even less inclined to care. So anyway, we go to this new church. Now, the old church was 1 hour church service plus, like, Sunday school for the children. This new church is 3.5 hour long church service every Sunday. And then afterwards, Sunday school. And then we also did the same thing on Wednesday nights. Now, I get that some people, like, you know, are really into this kind of stuff, but I am absolutely not into this stuff. And I was, like, absolutely miserable at church. And it was, like, Christian rock. And I think, like, some Christian rock bands are rock bands, and they wanted to do regular rock, and they just so happen to be religious, but realize that they suck at playing rock music, so then they just claim that they're Christian rock bands, and then, you know, make their stuff have a religious bent. And I think it's all just, like, an excuse so that they can suck and be bad musicians, but still get, like, views. Alright. So, yeah. Twice a week, 3.5 hours, Christian rock music, non-stop. And we had to stand and sing and sway with the music. And I wanted nothing to do with anything. And the moment where it fully hit rock bottom, where I was never going to be able to, like, give any kind of crap about the whole thing, it happened one day, I had a, like, stepsister, right? My stepsister had, like, behavior kind of emotional problems, right? Now, to be fair, her mom, not my mom, her mom was a screw-up of, like, kind of epic proportions. She was a hippie. And she was a very bad parent. Now, she loved her kids, I think, probably. And she wanted the best for them, but her idea of what the best for them was so irrational and just wrong that it was, like, shocking. So, like, you know, and also her priorities were a little bit off, too. Like, you know, most people are like, okay, I should make sure my kids get what they need. She was like, I'm gonna go to Bolivia to help the poor. So she went to Bolivia and just kind of, like, abandoned her children. So, my stepsister never really, like, handled that kind of stuff particularly well. And it was always, like, a huge problem for her that she was, like, you know... So, long story short is that my sister, like, had a hard time dealing with my mom because she saw my mom as, like, an interloper stealing the, like, mom position from her mom because she didn't want to accept that her mom was, like, an idiot. You know, okay, so I get it, whatever. Alright, I gotta make sure I've closed as many pathways. Alright. So, she had, like, some, you know, emotional problems and, like, behavioral problems. And this is, like, a whole nother topic for another conversation at some point. But anyway. She had, like, issues. She really liked getting attention, right? Now, we're in a room with a whole bunch of super, super religious people, right? And my stepsister has emotional and behavioral problems, right? So, in the middle of church, They're praising God. The song's reaching its climax. And she falls on the floor and starts twitching. Now, I look at that like, oh man, she's doing it again, trying to get attention. My mom's like, oh man, I knew it! She's actually possessed by a demon. So we all, like, you know, all the church people are there, like, praying for her. Evil spirit, be gone! And I'm like, and my stepbrother there too, is like, I cannot believe they're falling for this. Like, how can they be this stupid? So after the whole church prayed for her demon possession to end, and everybody fell for it, and then she stopped twitching and was smiling like it was the greatest thing ever, because she knew what she was doing. She wasn't possessed by a demon. She knew what was up. I was just like, wow, you people are idiots. I can't. I'm done. No, I'm done. I can't do it. So yeah, that killed any chance of me being religious. So, however, I was still, you know, not going to church was not an option available to me. I still had to go. So when I'd go, it was like, you know, I did have a Game Boy back then, but bringing a Game Boy to church was unacceptable. So, I still had to, like, pretend that I was paying attention also. So I couldn't just, like, you know, nap or something along those lines, and I couldn't read a book because, you know, like I said, I had to pretend that I was paying attention. So I brought a notebook and started drawing mazes. Finally, we get to the meat of the topic. So yeah, I started drawing mazes. And I started off with just, like, normal mazes, but then I started making, like, mazes with, like, designs, you know, like a maze where it was all curving lines versus a maze where it was all straight lines, or a maze that was, like, all diagonal instead of up, horizontal and vertical lines. I did a maze that was all circles that, like, overlapped each other, and you had to go through the circles like it was bubbles. Then I started making them into, like, actual video games. So, one of the mazes, for instance, that I ended up doing was you had to get, like, keys to unlock doors. So you actually had to go through the maze in, like, a specific pattern. And then another maze, I ended up putting, like, there was, guns, and you had to get a gun, and then you had to get bullets. And then there was monsters that had, like, health. So each bullet would deal, like, 1 damage to the monster. And you would have to have enough bullets to be able to kill the monster, or otherwise you wouldn't be able to kill the monster. And then I started doing some really crazy things. Like, I did one maze where, like, I started doing teleporters, but I did one maze where the path, it started in the middle of the maze, like, you didn't start in the corner, and then you had to get to the back of the page. And any of the lines that would go to the edge of the piece of paper, you would just flip the paper over and continue from the same spot. So it was actually, like, it was pretty elaborate. So they were less mazes and more like video games in, like, paper form, but they were kind of fun. I at least enjoyed myself. So yeah, though, that is the long story short of why I do mazes. Nope, not there. There we go. Right. Kinda don't want to put a block there, but I have to put a block there. Whoops. Get rid of all this crap. So yeah, that was my long little tangent there on why I'm good at making mazes. Because, you know, for like 2 years of my life, for 7 hours every week, I did nothing but make the most complex mazes I think anybody's probably ever made. I made one maze that used teleporters that was like 10 pages long, front and back. That maze actually took me like a week and a half to build. Alright. So anyway, as anybody has probably seen at this point, I'm having some difficulties keeping to my schedule. I mentioned this in a Facebook post, but I don't know if anybody's found my Facebook page yet. Whoops. But yeah, so I mentioned this in a Facebook post, but part of the reason why I'm consistently not making my schedule correct is because there's a reason. Hold on. Crap. Yeah. Anyway, the reason why sometimes I kind of consistently screwing this up is because I can make the videos fast enough. It's the like uploading them to YouTube that ends up taking a really long time. And yeah, when I'm doing the upload, like I can do another video while the upload's going through, for instance. But after it uploads, which doesn't take. The upload isn't the biggest part, it's like the YouTube processing, because now the YouTube processing isn't even giving me, I don't know what happened to it. When I first started doing these, it would say like, your video is processing, 23% done. Now it just says your video is uploading, 0% done, and then just keeps saying that until it finishes. Which is its own little like bag of worms, in a way. But anyway. The other issue, of course, here is that Tibia videos are the ones I kind of do the most, and they're the ones that I'm losing out on my schedule and are putting me down, like are putting me behind. And the reason why the Tibia videos are giving me such a problem is because I can't actually play Tibia while the upload is going. It'll lag Tibia, and I'll end up dying. So yeah, there's that problem. And then Tibia also requires a little bit, like, for this I just, I signed on and I'm like, alright, let's roll. I loaded up Minecraft and just went with it. And that does not work for Tibia, because I need to, like, know what I'm going to be doing in Tibia before I start doing it. So yeah, Tibia requires me to kind of like do some specific things in it beforehand. Long story short, that with the issue of the uploads is why Tibia videos tend to be delayed, and then anything that comes after the Tibia video gets delayed an equal portion. So I apologize, but there's kind of nothing I can do about it. I just need to make sure I can make all the jumps up here. Alright, good. So yeah, I mean, that's a problem. Kind of a big problem, I suppose, too. But yeah, I'm trying to work on it. It's just a little difficult. And then once I get behind, I'm kind of stuck behind for the rest of the night. There's not really a good way to, like, fix it. I probably need to consider, like, moving some time around on my schedule or putting less videos on. Because, like, the videos, well, it's like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I give up. Alright, we only have that one path. Okay, yeah. So anyway, though, the thing is, like, the videos are usually around, like, an hour, usually a little bit less. But most of my videos tend to be around, like, 35 minutes to an hour. None of them are really ever anything less than that. So when I give only, like, one video is supposed to be up at, like, let's say midnight, and then the next video is supposed to be up at 2 a.m. I only have that little amount of leeway. So when I get, like, a single delay, it's really hard for me to, like, recoup from the delay. I'm trying, though. Usually, though, that means I'm making, like, shorter videos for the next thing, which means a subpar video. And I'm trying not to do that as much as I can. Whoops, no, I didn't want to do that. Alright. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Alright. Hi ho the Dario. Alright. So yeah, I'm thinking so far, I'm kind of liking where this is going. Of course, I always feel that way about my own creations, so that's not really saying much. Nope, can't do that. Can do that though. Alright. Nope. There we go. Alright. Bam, bam, bam. Oops, nope, there we go. What? 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 There we go. Alrighty. Now I just want to make this look a little bit smoother from the outside, which just means a little bit less like random and clunky. Oh, and I forgot all about that. Oh man, I hate the stupid grass. Have I mentioned that? Alright. So yeah, now again, like I said, I'm just making it look a little bit prettier at this point. There we go. Oops. I hate the grass. I remember I was watching these like videos on YouTube, and it was like funny game show answers or something like that. And there was like these ones from the old, I think it was like the Newlywed Game or something like that. The premise was that like a pair of newlyweds would be on the show, and they would like ask the woman a question, and it would be like, it would be like, what's your favorite food? And then she would say what her favorite food is, and then later on they would ask the man, and they'd be like, oh, okay, Mr. Wife, what is your wife's favorite food? And then he would be like, oh, it's apple pie. And then she would like flip over a card and be like, no, it's like grilled salmon. And then they'd be like, oh, you don't really know your wife all that well. You're a loser. Basically. Not really, but yeah. So like that was the premise of the game. So the one, it was like this hippie couple, right? And the question they asked the wife was, what do your neighbors have more of than you? So she puts her answer, and then she's got it like on a board. And then they ask him, and he's like, man, I don't know, like, cars? And then she flips hers over, and she put, like, grass, because they had a bigger yard. And now they're hippies now. So she flips over the card, and it says grass. And he's like, grass? I wouldn't be so sure of that, honey. And everybody's like, oh! And starts, like, laughing. Yeah, no, I thought that was funny. And I keep thinking of that every time. I'm like, oh, the stupid grass. Symmetry is important to me. It's vitally important to me. Vitally. Whoops. Yeah, I didn't mean to click there. I'll go down low. There we go. Alright, this looks a little bit less like a piece of junk right now. Hold on, right here. There we go. Now it looks a little bit less like a piece of junk. So that is the first portion of the maze. I'm going to actually end the video here since, you know, minor progress was made, but rather than start on a whole nother section and, you know, make this video an hour and a half long, I'll end here. So let me save and quit to the title. Alright, folks, so yeah, check out my Facebook page. My life for ire! That was what, the Zealots say that in, StarCraft? Was it the Zealots or the Dragoons? It was one of them. I'll Google it. Hold on, let me pause. It is the Zealots, they said it. And apparently they still say it in the new, StarCraft. Even though Ire's been infested by the Zerg, because somebody on the forums was asking about it, which I thought was funny. Anyway, so yeah, like, favorite, comment, subscribe, check out my Facebook, and I will see you folks later.